Welcome to the regular meeting of Hamilton City Council for June 28th, 2023. We're here at City Council Chambers at 345 High Street in Hamilton, and it's just after 6 o'clock. We do have two public hearings this evening. One involves plat approval of a development at 116 Timber Hill Drive, and the other approval of a development at 2251 Northwest Washington Boulevard. Roll call, please.
Pullman.
Present.
Fear. Vaughn.
Present.
Ryan.
Here.
Nab.
Present.
Lauer.
Present.
Moeller.
Present.
We have a quorum.
I accept the motion to excuse Councilmember Fear for reasons known to City Council.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, seconded by Councilmember Vaughn. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. We're going to start off with an offering of prayer by Councilmember Susan Vaughn, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you are able.
Heavenly Father, during the summer celebration of our nation's birth, we ask for blessings on our servicemen and women. We ask protection for all of our men and women in uniform, both here and around the world. We're grateful for their service, their dedication, and we pray that they are safe. May all that July 4th symbolizes renew our faith in freedom and our devotion to democracy. We are thankful for our blessings of life and liberty. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Prior to our special presentations, I'd like to have a moment of silence for someone. Councilmember Vaughn did mention our military and those who have served our country. Marvin Sizemore from Hamilton passed away. He was a World War II POW in Japan, who also served in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. He's a member of the Veterans Hall of Fame here in Hamilton, Ohio. A moment of silence for Marvin Sizemore. Thank you. We now go to special presentations, and first off is the Home and Garden Awards with Ann Combs.
Okay, hello.
Good evening, Ann.
Hi. Okay, Raj and Suzanne.
Thank you.
We did it. But we're not done yet.
Oh, good.
Oh, no.
Want to get some?
Tell us about the program, Ann, and tell us about this home.
Oh, I started doing this in '05, and I just ride around, and sometimes some of my past winners come with me, and we find houses that we go, oh, that's it. So anyway, they have a lovely house on Marcia, and they've taken such good care of it, and have annuals, and see how pretty it is.
Thanks, Ann.
And their front door is actually on the side where all the flowers are. And it's just very welcoming. And they were very welcoming when I knocked on the door.
That is a beautiful home. Come on up here, and we're going
Okay.
to give you a certificate. So bring them all up here. You. Plus, I may ask you to say something, too. All right. That is a beautiful home. And just so you're aware that Ann, you always give a photo of the award-winning home to the homeowners.
Yeah.
Okay. City also wants to thank you because you folks are role models, because we need to all do what you do and be inspired and make all of our homes look good. City of Hamilton, Ohio. This is certified that Raj Sundram and Suzanne Gill of 433 Marcia Avenue is hereby awarded the Certificate of Recognition for receiving the 2023 Home and Garden Appearance Award and for being dedicated to keeping the city of Hamilton beautiful. Some of myself as mayor and acknowledged by all members of council. So, tell us about how much work, how many hours it takes to get a home to look that beautiful. I'm gonna pass this over to both of you too. Tell us what that takes to get that beauty of a home.
It's taken a few years, but I would consider it a little bit of therapy. So maybe by the look of it, you can see how much therapy I need. But I enjoy it a lot, so I don't see it as work at all.
No, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do, and you're raising your family here in a beautiful neighborhood in the city of Hamilton. So, a round of applause for this fine couple here. You got some good creativity behind that too. Thank you, Wayne, for bringing these fine citizens to us for these beautiful homes.
It's my pleasure.
I bet you. Joel, would you help work on that home?
I was not asked back after the first time I subbed for him 1 week.
Okay. All right. Next, we have a Hamilton Fiber update by Executive Director of Infrastructure, Edwin Porter.
Good evening, Mayor Moeller, members of City Council, Hamilton community. Unfortunately, our local Hamilton fiber and broadband expert, Cody Terman's unavailable to join us tonight, and so you're stuck with me, but I'll do my best to provide an update on our system. So just a high-level overview. So the City of Hamilton fiber system, we have about 85 miles of fiber within the Hamilton community. This was originally installed in 2004 for governmental purposes, but in 2015, the city recognized that this could be utilized, that in addition to our own city communications, we could utilize it to provide broadband services to the businesses in our community. And so at that time, we entered into a 5-year pilot program with CenterGrid to provide those services, and also started leasing what they call dark fiber leases, which is kind of point-to-point connections using our system. So in 2021, we completed the beta test and determined that the city would actually take over the service of the utility. So we brought all of the equipment in-house, we brought all the customers in-house with us, and we created a pilot test for several months. We performed the pilot test and it went well. And so in 2022, City Council approved legislation to have a permanent offering for commercial broadband services for the Hamilton commercial community. At that time, we went through what I'll call a rebranding. So originally, our logo, we were Hamilton Fiber, and we just provided the fiber services, but we really thought we were offering something different, something special to our community. So most folks know Tommy Long of Lemon Grenade Creative. The creative folks there helped us to create a new logo and brand. So on the bottom right, you'll see, you'll notice that is actually an H and a C, and that stands for Hamilton Connects, but it's in the shape of a cable. Interesting fun fact, one cable has just under 150 individual strands of fiber in it, and it's about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, so very small and packs a lot of information. You'll also see that the individual strands, they go from left to right, and what it really symbolizes is this broadband offering connects our community to the world. So it connects our businesses, it connects our community to the web and to the world, and is really bringing the community forward. And that's why we wanted to change the name from Hamilton Fiber to Hamilton Connects. So, of course, the service is only as strong as the people who are behind it. So I wanted to take a quick moment to recognize those individuals from the city who are really involved in the day-to-day operations of our fiber system, our broadband offering. The top 4 folks, these are actually, every one of these individuals is an electrician that works in our electric production department. And we kind of call it their side job now. They service the broadband. So they have a main function of working on our electric production system, and then they also do all of the installations, they run all the fiber, they do any troubleshooting, et cetera. So those top 4 individuals are electricians. The next two, Christine Carr and Aubrey Gamble, they work for our infrastructure business services group. So in addition to doing all the business services, the budgeting, et cetera, for fiber and broadband, they do it for all of our utility offerings as well. The customer coordinator, so Cody Turman, he really is the leader of the Hamilton broadband system. So he manages all the day-to-day customer service. He manages all the technical aspects of it. He really is the main person of our fiber system. And then we also have a third-party consultant. His name's Dustin Wright. He works for Untangled Technology. And Dustin manages the traffic and does some of the more technical portions of the offering. So our current customers, so if you look up on the screen here, you'll notice all of these companies here in Hamilton. So this is who we currently serve. Any commercial business in town who's interested, feel free to contact Cody. His contact information is at the end of the slide deck. And our connection service levels and pricing are listed above. So we go anywhere from 50 megabits per second all the way up to 1,000 megabits per second, which they call a gig. The pricing is just past that, and then the number of service locations that we have currently is in the third column there. I know that our rates are competitively priced as well. And then this slide, really there's two things here. The first thing is, why does Hamilton have its own utilities? And everyone's well aware that we're the only city in Ohio that has all of our major utilities. And this is just another utility offering that we brought into it. And the reason is we wanted to provide reliable, locally controlled, affordable services to the Hamilton community. So our utility services have one perspective, and we look inward to Hamilton, and we make the best decisions based upon what's the best for the Hamilton community. And that's what our decision-making process is every time. So that's really the benefit to the Hamilton community, as well as economic development opportunities. So I've sat through a number of economic development meetings, and in addition to all the great things that Hamilton has to offer, the utility offering and the customer service that comes with our utilities is something that differentiates us from the competition when businesses are looking to locate here. And so the broadband offering is just, a wholesale utility offering that the Hamilton community can offer. And so with that, there's a success story here. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but MTech is a new business to Hamilton. And as they were looking to relocate to Hamilton, they contacted our team, and they had broadband ran to their business, and they had some difficulties trying to get it installed previously, not through Hamilton Connects. And Ron Mitchell, president and CEO of MTech, he decided that he wanted to personally write a letter and hand deliver it to Cody Turman because he was just so impressed and so satisfied with the service. So I'm not going to read the entire letter, but I do want to read a portion of it. It says, "Dear Mr. Turman, on behalf of everyone at MTech Systems, I want to reach out and let you know just how happy we are with the way that our onboarding into the City of Hamilton's fiber network happened. We were blown away with how quick, responsive, and professional your team communicated and got the job done. The service is fantastic and very competitively priced, so much so that we would like to get in touch with other businesses in Hamilton to get them to utilize the city's fiber system as well. In a nutshell, fantastic job, you and everyone at the City of Hamilton. We're thrilled to be partnered with you, and now you have my business, and to now have my business located in the city I was raised." So this is really the ultimate testament to we as city staff. Our goal is we're public servants. We serve the Hamilton community. And so for a member of our business community to reach out and tell us that we've done a great job, it really is satisfying to us. So I want to take the moment to pass that along as well. So with that, I'll leave the information. So Cody Turman is the main point of contact. His phone number and email address are here. Bill Hudson is there. He's the Director of Utility Operations. He's a secondary contact. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions or comments.
I believe Dan Bates was involved in the introducing this MTech to the city to provide fiber. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, absolutely.
I know Dan's here. I'll say thanks to Dan for doing that. It's kind of interesting. I saw Cody Turman at a Reds baseball game, and of like 40,000 people, he had seats right next to me. Cody Turman did, and his wife. We mentioned something about the fiber, and I said, well, let's have a presentation at council. And he was proud of the entire city team of what was accomplished. So I thank you for the update. As a side, we differed on the value of a guy named Will Benson on the Reds. And Cody said cut him, I said keep him, and I think I valued that a little bit better than Cody did. But Cody's been a valuable member of our city team, I think, for 10 years plus now, as well as Dalton Markham, and I think he's been around about the same amount of time. So your name's up there. It's a great city team that's getting another utility out to the business community. And I just think that's a real great thing for our city. I'm sorry, any questions or comments from council about this? Because I think this is great stuff.
Yeah, we're very proud of it.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
So Ed, when a business doesn't have cable to them, you'll run it to a business is within the limits, or is there just a certain area that's covered right now?
Yeah, so essentially the way it works is, so we have our fiber loop that's already established, and so for the initial installation, whatever the distance is from the fiber loop to that business, you know, we have a calculation that says how far it runs, so we'll establish service to any business, and we have a pricing arrangement based upon the service extension. But yeah, absolutely. So feel free if anyone, you know, desires to be connected to our service, you know, call us up. We'll come out. We'll investigate. We'll see, you know, where our nearest connection is, and provide an estimate on what that would take to provide connectivity, and we'd be glad to do so.
I'll pass it around.
Of course.
So the contact, is it Cody or who? Who does the business contact?
Yeah, Cody Turman. Yep.
He's the customer coordinator then?
He is, yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. All right. Next, I believe we have Crawford Horing. That's correct. Next presentation is about some exciting things going on in Hamilton now and in future years. So we're wanting to hear from you.
Mayor Moeller, Vice Mayor Ryan, council members. My name is Matthew Starr. I'm the Executive Vice President of Real Estate with Crawford Hoying. I never prepare notes for these meetings. I always sort of speak from the heart. But I thought it was important tonight to actually write some things down because it's been a long process. So bear with me if you can. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. It's been a journey to get to this point. I was reminded today that the first contact with the city of Hamilton about opportunities in Hamilton was in 2015. I didn't happen to be there that day. I was working on a project called Bridge Park, where our office is in Dublin. But here we are, 2023, finally getting to this point. Our first contact with the city on this specific opportunity was in April of 21. So here we are 2 years later, you know, talking about the Cohen site. But really, this is just the beginning, right? So we're at the starting block. So important context there. Unique opportunities like this are very exciting to us. We're going to show you some images and talk a little bit about what we've done in Dayton, which we're very proud of. I think it's safe to say that we probably wouldn't be here today if not for some of the things that are already happening in the city, and specifically Spooky Nook. That's probably something that really put this opportunity over the top for us. Obviously, the city made a major commitment there, and I applaud you for that. I really, again, want to thank council, but I also want to thank the key staff members that have played an important role in getting us to this point today. And I will probably leave somebody out, but specifically Joshua Smith, Tom Vanderhorst, Jody Gunderson, Liz Hayden. I think you should be proud of them. I mean, they live Hamilton every day. We feel it. They live it and breathe it. And, you know, thank you to them for getting us to this point. There's going to be a lot more work that obviously has to be done. As we often have done in the communities that we've worked in, we hope Cohen site is just the start, right? Good growth happens organically. We cannot force it. We're in a challenging market environment today, but if we do what we do right, it should grow and radiate out from there. And Russ is going to show you some of those things here in Dayton shortly. Just a little background on us as a company. We're based in Dublin, Ohio, suburb of Columbus. We've been in business 28 years, 200 employees. We have about 60 at our corporate office. Ohio-based company, proud of it. Obviously, a lot of investments in Columbus, but Dayton, Cincinnati, now Hamilton as well. So pretty excited about that. Unlike a lot of people in our business, what you see is what you get. We won't send attorneys to this podium. We won't send architects. We won't send engineers. We stand up here. We take the questions. We don't always have the answers as we're standing here. We'll get the answers for you. We have 7 core values as a company. And I should know them, but I wrote them down anyway. Long-term greedy, be fearless, treat it like you own it, just the facts, tireless effort, everything speaks, and I think the most important one is be nice. These are important values for us. We live them every day. We talk about them. We use them as we talk to our team. And they're important to remember when we're in challenging times, economic times, as we are, at least in the real estate market, rising interest rates, rising construction costs, a little bit of a credit crunch. So those important, those core values are very important to us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Russell Hunter. He's our EVP of Development. He's going to walk you through some slides that we have, and then we're open to any questions. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. So Russell Hunter, nice to meet all of you. My background is actually in architecture and planning. So I joined Crawford Hoying about 10 years ago, but I was at an architecture firm for about 12 years before that. So kind of a unique background for a development company that I think sets us apart a little bit. And it also, it's very easy for me to stand here and say, because I've got so much experience in this, that all of the site plans that we show you tonight, probably not the way it's going to end up, right? It's an iterative process. It happened that way in Dayton. It happened that way in Dublin. It's going to happen that way here. But there are some things that we know we can bring to this process that are going to get us the best outcome. So we've got a couple of site plans that we have prepared for this site. Probably the biggest thing that's going to jump off the page at you, and the thing that I want to impress upon everyone, is that we want to leave, and the north is kind of in a goofball direction on these plans, so I'm going to say bottom right. But most of the Niles Toolworks buildings, all of the buildings that are along the 3rd Street, we want to leave those in place. There's a bunch of reasons for that. They're beautiful buildings. They can't be replicated if they get torn down. The market might not be there for them today, but it doesn't mean it won't be there for them in 3, 5, 7 years. There's a lot of acreage underneath those roofs, and it's too much for anybody to bite off today. And so what we've learned through our experience is that if you want to bring the tenants and the users to those buildings that are going to really make them successful, you've got to get people to the site first. You've got to build the market. And so that's really what we want to do. And so we've been studying ways in which the first phases of this project bring residential and an additional hotel to the site that would complement everything that's happening across the river at Spooky Nook. The difference between the two site plans is really in structured parking. And structured parking is parking is always the first thing that we have to deal with in virtually every project that we look at, is what do we do with all of the cars? Structured parking is really, really expensive, and especially in today's dollars. And so we're constantly looking for ways in which we can build as little of it as possible, knowing that we don't know what the future holds for cars in general. But sometimes the return on investment for us or the city isn't what you think it would be. So we want to make sure that we're being strategic about the dollars being put into parking garages. And sometimes what ends up happening is that when you build the parking garages, you end up taking so much space for the garage that you lose some of the yield. Right, you don't get as many units as you hoped you would get because the garages are so darn big. So that is something that we want to continue to study and develop, working in lockstep with all of the staff to make sure that we come up with a plan, phased plan that everyone feels really, really comfortable with. And even if it means that there isn't structured parking in phase 1, it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be in phase 2, right? And again, building the market. I think that Matt talked a little bit about our Dayton project, and I think that that is one that is probably the easiest for us to compare to some of the ideas and the aspirations that we have for the projects here. And it's because we started Dayton with one site. It was similar in acreage. We had no idea that we were going to end up 10 years later developing all of those green logos that you see on that page. That's literally where we started, was just on the riverfront, sort of bottom left, and we've just continued to go. And it's been some of our most successful real estate projects. So Water Street District includes, so it's really centered on the Dayton Dragons ballpark, but also along the riverfront. So a lot of great assets going for it here. We've got riverfront, we've got the Spooky Nook across the river, Markham Park, German Village. There's so many wonderful things already happening on this site that it's gonna make it a success. But another thing that I think is really interesting about Dayton, and as you compare it to here, going through some of these slides, but this is actually the one that I wanted to get to, is that of all of the buildings that you see there, only one of them is brand new. And so in Dayton, we started with the residential. It was all new buildings. As the market continued to build, then we looked at a lot of historic buildings. And so Delco Lofts, the Delco, the Brackett building that you see there is about a 150-year-old building, all of them historic renovations, all of them slightly different in users and the way they were developed, but all of them incredibly successful. And one couldn't have been done if you hadn't done the stuff before, right? So, you know, I think that the other thing that I want to bring to bear here is that, you know, because we're so collaborative, we want what you want, which is a successful neighborhood, is that it's going to be layers, right? And so I actually just had a phone call earlier this afternoon with the Downtown Dayton Partnership and art groups, where now we are going to start a public art program. We couldn't have done that 10 years ago, but we can today. And that's just through thoughtful thinking. And so we could not be more excited about the opportunity in front of us. And I really sincerely hope that it doesn't look like what we think it's gonna look like. It'll be better if we do our homework. So Matt, do you have anything that you wanted to add beyond that?
No, it's a really good summary. I'm sure they'll have questions.
So questions for us?
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
Matt and Russ, thank you for coming tonight. This was great. I'm personally excited. I'm also really excited to hear that you're going to do everything you can to preserve some very important history in that corridor. That means a lot to the community. It means a lot to the surrounding neighbors and those that you know, whose families have worked there for generations. So really excited. Really love hearing that you want to collaborate with the community as well. I know the German Village neighborhood, just south of there, they're anxious, but they're excited. So I'm looking forward to us collaborating with them and just, you know, working through the phases of the project. So I'm excited, and thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Thank you. Welcome. We're excited to have you. One of the things that I see that's in common is these are riverfront properties. So you've chosen to build on the riverfront. One of the #1 things that residents in Hamilton say is our river is underutilized. Are there ways that you're going to incorporate the river, or I know you can't go down there and dredge it and clean it out for us, but we want to make it usable, and having these beautiful properties on the river is very welcoming. But your thoughts, what's happened in Dayton and Columbus using the river?
Oh goodness. I mean, the sky's really the limit, and I almost hate to, I have ideas, right? But I think that, you know, like Liz, like I want to talk to her about that, right? I want to talk to folks in German Village about it. I mean, the truth is, like Dayton as an example, they've got this wonderful bike path that goes through. They just recently added these, I forget what they call it now, but they're basically rapids, where as you kayak through there, you get some rough water that you can go through. Murals, they've really beautified a lot of their the concrete through murals. I see opportunity for us as we develop on our side of our property line to create, for lack of a better term, boardwalks, right? So that you've got a pedestrian-friendly place for that's a connection along the river from Black Street south. We only control that 17 acres there, right? And so there are certainly are gaps, and gaps that are going to have to be filled not just with property but also with funding. You know, we're here to collaborate. We're here to come up with ideas on ways in which we can get there. You know, we want to be a part of the team, I guess is the way I could say it.
The other thing I would add is it's a little tricky because 3rd Street is important, right? So we want to have an urban edge, and the riverfront is important, and the connection to the neighborhood is important, right? So you have all the boundaries are so important. Cars have to go somewhere, infrastructure goes somewhere, so it'll take that iterative process to get to the solution we want, and we might not have it the first time.
That's very true.
And, you know, one thing you said it early, but, you know, the plan that we have today may not be the plan we come to the commission with eventually and develop. So the river's an important asset. We've been here many, many times. We see people using it. We see bikers. We've collaborated with the rowing club, for example. We didn't talk about that, but we know how important it is. There's also been some conversation, hope I'm not speaking out of turn, about Black Street Bridge and what that could become eventually to enhance that experience as well. So I think that's really an important consideration.
Great. I think the important thing is collaboration, and I love the bridge in Dublin, just saying. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Knapp.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming today. As we formed and through dreaming a plan with Sam Byler and Spooky Nook years ago, and build it and they will come, and they are coming. And it's purposeful. It's not 100,000 people all at one time, but over a period of months. And in phasing and the opportunity that you're presenting, we've quietly been aware of the relationships that have been forged so far. So thank you for understanding what our city wishes to accomplish with you, and what again, the dreams for the future and the phases of the future, as you shared of what you did in Dublin, what you've done now in Dayton, down at the banks and things like that. We're excited to be part of the growth, and I know you've got the resources here. And please, if there's something you need, through Joshua and his team, let us know what we might be able to do together, and we'll try to make it happen. But thanks for coming, presenting tonight to our audience and everybody on TV Hamilton that's here. The Journal News had run a story, as you know, and things like that locally. So everybody that is approaching me and approaching the rest of us on council is really excited about the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Pullman.
Again, I'd like to say thank you, and I guess we're not getting a ballpark there, but it's, I have to say I went to Dayton many times over the years, and then I finally got to go to Dayton Dragons game, and I was blown away by, first of all, the Dayton Dragons, the stadium there, how much fun it is to go there, and everything around it, the development. It just did not look like the old Dayton I knew. So it's a great job. It's a great place to hang out. I recommend anybody from Hamilton that wants to see what you've done is go take in a Dayton Dragons game and go look at the area up there. It's just really beautiful. So, you know, hopefully, I'm excited. I'm not saying hopefully. I have no doubts. I think you're going to make that beautiful too. So, great job. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Lauer.
I am so appreciative of a company like you guys coming in and leading us into a future, a near future, helping be a part of that specific neighborhood, but I also believe it's going to help continue to develop some of our other neighborhoods that are just on the other side of of 3rd Street. I am excited for those opportunities. I think that you guys are going to bring so much to Hamilton, and I can't wait for you guys to get started. So I am very appreciative. Grew up right across the river, and to see this come to fruition is really exciting for me. I appreciate it, and I'm sure it's exciting for a lot of people in my generation that watched Champion go down, and here we are rebuilding it, making something exciting. I'm very excited about this.
I'll say thank you for doing your homework about Hamilton. I mean, it sounds like you've been here for many, many, many years instead of just a couple of years. And I noticed a real willingness to want to learn more make this project really, really special. And you mentioned German Village, because that's a very important part of our history and our city. I know the president of or the leader of that group is here, Andy Welzer. I think I saw him here.
Met him
You
earlier.
probably already met him already.
Yep.
Man, what a great guy and a great group to have at the table, just to learn more and make this project really, really shine. So, and I noticed that Brackett building, there's a brew barn there named Moeller Brew Barn. And I'm not related to those folks, I don't think.
Maybe
but
you should be.
there's a Moeller Brew Barn there. So that's, I will not start a brew barn here.
I swear that was complete circumstance.
But that is a nice development up there. I went to a game earlier this year, at a Dragons game. So thank you for your interest, your enthusiasm, and bringing your skills to this project. Any other comments from council?
I think we have a local establishment there, The Drink. I think it would be awesome. That is the Ohio State Bar in Hamilton, Ohio. I think it would be awesome to get Mr. Hoying there for an Ohio State game, and I think Mr. Mayor would our mayor would appreciate that as well.
That can be arranged.
That could absolutely be arranged. Poor Bob.
We'll call him on the way back.
Thanks, gentlemen, because this is a wow project, and it's great.
One final thing I'd like to add is that we often don't go in rooms where there's this many citizens. That's a great sign for a community. So everyone should be proud of that. I think that's exciting, and I think we have a better outcome when we have that level of participation. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, that takes care of our special presentations. We now go to audience of citizens. And audience citizens, individuals who wish to make comments, may speak during this part of the agenda, or may wait until that agenda item is before council for a vote. All individuals who intend to address the city council are required to sign in this book. Each speaker is allowed up to 5 minutes. And we first off have Jim Loneman. Jim Loneman.
Good evening, I'm Jim Loneman, I'm 544 Franklin Street. Okay, I know some, okay, I moved over here, there's, I got over on, at G Street and, it goes back toward the city, there's a big manhole cover here, it's real sunk down there.
So it's near Ross Avenue, I guess, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna write that down, but I'm sure somebody else in the city's writing
I
that
told
down.
Richard about it, he said, see him over there, yeah, on Main Street there's a lot of them too. Not as bad, but there's a lot on Main Street too.
Okay. Great.
And I want to see this city, most of them are Society Bill things. Why the heck do like that?
I don't know why. Rich Engel could probably explain to you the engineering of that, or maybe
He wouldn't
Dan Arthur
know.
could. No, Rich is here.
He
but
didn't know either. He didn't know either.
That's going to be probably another topic, another conversation that you'll have to have with Rich about how that happens and how we can get it fixed possibly.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
No. Thank you, Jim.
Have a good night.
You too. I have Mark Kaler next, but do you wish to speak at the public hearing? Mark?
Yes, please.
Okay. We'll wait for that public hearing if that's okay. Yeah, because we...
Actually, both.
At both?
Yes, yes, sir.
Come on up. Give us your name and your address, please.
Mark Kaler, 2247 Mossy Grove in Hamilton. First thing I want to say is thanks to the city. The Cohen development is going to be fantastic. The other one is one personal to you, Josh. Gee, the last time I spoke up here, I said there was a big mess at Beckett. It's cleaned up now. Thank you. Okay. Is there any time frame on when you might plan on putting your first shovel in the dirt?
You know, if you would, so we can all hear you, because we've got a full house tonight.
Good question. So per our agreement with the Cohens, they have 18 months to get off that site. That doesn't mean we're going to wait 18 months to obviously start our design and planning. We've already started some of that, obviously, as you saw tonight. So I think realistically, it could start next fall, which would be, fall of 24, so spring of 26. think that's what our agreement is. By
Spring of '26 having actual
open.
things open, yes.
Yes, open, yes. So they have 18 months to get off the site, but within 30 days, they have to consolidate sort of their operations to one portion of the site. So, yeah, we hope to start Q3, Q4 next year.
Okay, this sounds like a very interesting project. Still don't understand what the Beckett paper project is going to be, with it being some sort of housing. Is that still moving forward?
Please, if you can.
Yeah. So
Address it.
we've had several meetings with the development group on the Beckett paper project in the last 30 days. And I think maybe I said this, I can't recall if I think I did, that their project is contingent upon a historic tax credit application. And we had a logjam of entities that were applying for historic tax credits. So we actually asked them to pull their application so that the Hilton project at the Anthony Wayne building could go forward. And there are 2 tax credit applications that are still in the queue. One of them is the Schuler-Benninghofen project, which is in Lindenwold, and the other one is the Beckett paper project. So there's another round of historic tax credits that the applications are due in about 60 days. So I'm not sure which one is going to move forward, but one of those 2 will go. We've been having conversations with both of them. So let's just make an assumption, and I'm not saying this is right now, but let's make an assumption that Schuler-Benninghofen would put their application this fall. We would ask Beckett then to wait until the spring. Otherwise, they're competing and very likely knocking each other out for consideration. So best case scenario, they would put in for the fall and get an award by around Thanksgiving, or they would put in the spring and get an award by probably late spring, early summer of 2024. But it would be my anticipation that, subject to a couple different things, like all these projects take a lot of work, but it would be nice that that both probably could be under construction at some point in 2024. And I would say probably on a similar timeline that what Crawford Hoying just said, where they might start 3rd or 4th quarter of 2024 with delivering the new buildings by the end of 2026.
Is this now a time to talk about the dual roundabout that's going to be up on West Elkton Road?
You've got time to ask still. And
Okay.
I think there's citizens out there probably want to know more about it. So
I know the city plans on building a dual roundabout system, part of it being at the corner of West Elkton Road and Washington Boulevard, and then the other part of it being further south. Where exactly are you locating it, and how are you doing it?
the best answer to that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would say someone from our engineering team probably could answer with more clarity than I could.
Okay.
This is Mr. Alan Messer approaching.
I didn't see him show up. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so the 2 roundabouts are going to go essentially where the 2 intersections are now. You've got the one at West Elkton, Northwest Washington. You've got B Street, Northwest Washington. We looked at a single roundabout there to try to consolidate those into 2, but if you think of how steep the hillside is, it's very difficult to get that large roundabout in there. We are looking to the future, so they'll be sized eventually for 2-lane roundabouts, but in the short term, I expect them to be striped as a single-lane roundabout. And that the design team for North Hamilton Crossing came up with that as the most efficient intersection improvement for that area. So whether the North Hamilton Crossing Bridge goes to the north or down further south on the river, it's still a needed improvement. We have applied for grant funding for it.
Okay. So if what you're doing, you're actually going to take less of the property from, I guess, the Patels who own property on Washington Boulevard?
That's correct, and we have been in contact with them. They're evaluating what that shift in the property needs will be on their development.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
And I just want to say this is an opportunity for the large crowd that we have to hear some of our city professionals, tell us what's going on. And I think you see how blessed we are to have a great city team. Jacob Welch. I'm going to the podium, give us your name and your address, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh. Good evening. My name is Jacob Welch, or Roxy Democracy within the drag community, and I reside at 502 Millville Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 45013. I am a board member and head of entertainment of Hamilton, Ohio Pride. As we wrap up on Pride Month, I wanted to share both the success of our various events as well as the history behind Pride. The gay rights movement started in 1969 with the Stonewall Inn riots. After a series of raids and brutality at the hand of law enforcement and the city of New York, 6 days of protests erupted and sparked the movement for equality for the LGBTQIA+ community. Led by trans women of color like Marsha P. Johnson and drag performers such as Sylvia Rivera, our community fought for our rights to adopt children, to serve in the military, to marry, and to ultimately exist without persecution. Pride has always been a protest. It has always been a celebration of love and a way to bring our community together. Fast forward to our 2023 Pride celebration, our third year hosting a successful, family-friendly event in Hamilton, Ohio. Oh, sorry, 1 second. June 3rd had thousands of Hamiltonians gather to celebrate our differences and embrace art and community. Our talented drag performers entertained crowds of people of all ages. I and other performers personally took numerous photos with families and kids with the biggest smiles you can imagine. Not every kid in Hamilton can afford to go to Disney and meet Mickey Mouse, but every kid is welcome to come to Pride and meet a dazzling character that may just change their lives. Drag is an art form near and dear to my heart. It is how a young boy from Hamilton, Ohio gets to feel like Carrie Underwood for just a moment. It is a way to make people laugh and add a little bit of magic to an ordinary brunch or party. With the rest of our board, we organize several drag shows a year that raise funds for both Pride as well as other local nonprofits. These events sell out every time we announce them, and we have constant requests for family-friendly drag shows where parents can take their teenagers with them. We have had an overwhelmingly positive response to all of our events, and we are excited to continue pushing for progress, community, and love in our city. I personally am grateful to those of you that have met with us and plan to continue working with us to make the city more inclusive. I will close with a quote from the Pulitzer Prize-winning author Alice Walker. "No person is your friend who demands your silence or denies your right to grow. Let us grow together." Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Questions or comments? Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on that topic out of the list of individuals who signed our Audience to Citizens book? So I like to kind of keep that all together. Okay. I'm not, okay, I see 2, 3. Okay. Ma'am, you first. I saw you first. Come up, give us your... Well, this isn't a competition now. Okay, give us your name and your address so I can mark you off the list. Your name, please.
Hi, I am Tammy Hatcher, and I'm actually not a resident of Hamilton. I live in Liberty Township, but my family and I spent a great deal of time in Hamilton attending events, shopping and dining, and participating on the Great Miami Rowing Center team that you mentioned earlier. This year, I'm also proud to say that I was able to serve on the Hamilton, Ohio Pride Planning Committee, and I supported the more than 100 vendors that attended our event. We had many repeat vendors. We also had a lot of new vendors, and they span the range of for-profit, nonprofit, the faith community, and lots of food trucks. This year, we also turned away more than a dozen vendors who continued to reach out to us asking if they could participate, but it was after the deadline, and we were planning and mapping things out, and we just couldn't accommodate. But I wanted to let you know also that we also turn down vendors if we, as we're reviewing their application, feel like they're not conducive to that family-friendly event that we're trying to host. This year, we also had about 30 event sponsors, many of whom are new sponsors for events in Hamilton. And I think it's important to reiterate that The community's love for Hamilton, Ohio Pride and the role it serves as an economic engine for the shops and restaurants in the city cannot be understated. And we have talked with a lot of different vendors who say that this is their biggest sales event of the year. Either they're exhibiting at Hamilton, Ohio Pride, or they're, you know, one of the restaurants or shops on the outskirts who just say that the crowds that it brings in makes it one of their most successful days of the year. We did have many event vendors who submitted letters of support for the event. I encourage you to read those. It really does express their love for this event. And as we continue to survey and talk about next year and plans for next year, unilaterally, every single vendor that has replied to the survey said it's their favorite event and they will absolutely return again next year. So thank you very much for your continued support of the event.
Thank you. Try and keep some organization of this. Who in the row behind Tammy wish to speak? And we'll go from front to the back. So there is some. Okay, who's behind Tammy? Okay, that's you, ma'am. And if you have signed, I mean, these are individuals who signed the book, so give us your name so I can knock it off the list.
Hi, my name is Linda Nix. I'm at 4243 Milliken Road, 45011. I am a Miami University Hamilton graduate, 87, 89. I have been around Hamilton for years. My son is a Miami University Hamilton student. I'm a military veteran, 8+ years of Army, National Guard, and Reserves. Until 8 years ago, I did not know, understand, have empathy for the LGBTQ+ community. It wasn't part of my bubble, my middle-class safety net. I had no clue on what it meant until my son came out. So 2 years ago, Hamilton, the first Pride, I can't tell you what it meant for my family to be there, to feel included, to feel accepted, to be safe. And this year, I was part of the Free Mom Hug, Queen City Mom Hug booth. We gave out hugs to people. We received love, we gave support. And just in just a 30-second hug moment, I heard, my mom doesn't support me, my parents disown me, my mom couldn't be here, they live so far away, thank you. My mom is here, they want to be part of this. So what you guys have done is amazing, and it warms my heart, and I thank you, and I hope that it only gets better, so I appreciate you.
I believe, Linda, you also sent us a letter too, didn't you?
I did, yes,
okay.
sir.
So all of council got those letters. All right. Okay. Who's behind Linda? All right, come on up. We're in the same row. And you signed the book, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what is your name, please?
Penny Greenler, 7917 Bayer Drive, Westchester.
Okay.
Not Hamilton, Ohio. As a mother, grandmother, and retired teacher, I just want to reiterate the importance of letting all children know that they are seen and accepted. Pride events are a public announcement that everyone belongs. Thank you for sponsoring your Pride Parade and making Hamilton an inclusive city and setting the example for the surrounding areas. So thank you.
Okay. Who was behind Penny or the same row as Penny? Who's next? All right. I think, sir, even though I wouldn't usually call a lady first, but come on up here. Name, address.
How are you? My name is Joe Kay. I have the privilege of serving as pastor of Nexus Church, United Church of Christ. We meet in Liberty Township over at the East Butler YMCA, but most of our congregation is from Hamilton, so this is our home. Something the mayor said earlier really struck me, that this is an exciting time for Hamilton, and it really is. Those of us who have been around a while have seen our community grow. We've seen it expand. We've seen many good things happening. And I wanted to share one moment of healing that we had as a community at our Hamilton Pride event. We're one of 7 churches, open and affirming churches, that are involved with Pride. My church is also a founding member of Hamilton Pride. We're proud of that. But we had a booth of blessing. We invited people to come up and receive a blessing. And we have rainbow-colored confetti. The rainbow is a deeply religious symbol, as you all know, if you know Noah's Ark. And we invited people to come forward, and we just took from a bowl confetti and sprinkled it over their heads and looked in their eyes and said, never forget that you are a beautiful and beloved child of God, just as you are. You are worthy of that love, always. And the people who came forward had tears in their eyes. Our people had tears in their eyes. That confetti was mixed with tears. And in that moment, there was such healing, such beautiful healing. And our community, like all communities, needs that kind of healing. We have those divisions that go way back. We all know, like all communities. And yet, we see those divisions being breached and pulled together recently. And we're so proud to be part of this exciting time in our community. I remember the first meeting we had at the Fitness Center was almost 4 years ago. Can you believe that? Walked in and here's this group of people talking about a Pride event, and I was representing our church because we were invited, and I'm wondering, what is this about? And we were immediately so touched by this group, people who live here, work here, have family here. They didn't want to just do an event. They wanted to build our community into a place where everyone can feel safe and welcomed, to put down roots, to raise family, to work, to have fun, to contribute to the community. And we were all in on that from the very beginning. Or in my lingo as a pastor, to make a place where everyone is seen as a beautiful and beloved child of God exactly as they are. That the image of God is in everyone equally and is respected in their dignity. And it's exciting to see the support in our community for this ideal, for this dream. I have a dream, someone said. We have a dream. And there is great support for this dream, to keep building this community in such a place where everyone can come and feel safe and loved. And you've heard already from some people, and you will hear from some more. These beautiful people in our community. It has been so gratifying to see the people coming to the events, to the people coming to the drag shows, which not only raise money for Pride, but for our community. Self in Butler County, we raised money for them in December to help needy families at Christmas. We had a toy drive for kids. And Reach Out Lakota partnered with us, and we gave them toys and money. We're going to do the same again this year. That is what this is all about, building such a place. And those of us in leadership, in whatever form of leadership we are, have a responsibility to envision this, to work for this, to make it happen, including when some people in the community don't especially want to see it happen. But we're here to work with all of you, and we look forward to what happens in the months and years to come as we work together to make Hamilton that kind of a place even more. Thank you for all you have done.
You also sent us a letter too, is that correct?
Yes, we
Mr.
did.
Case? So we received that letter.
Thank you, everyone.
All righty. Give us your name, please.
Savannah Israelson.
And your address, please.
As a minor, I do not feel comfortable sharing my
I'm sorry.
address. There are two definitions of pride. The first one is a feeling of deep satisfaction derived from one's own achievements and is commonly seen as one of the 7 deadly sins. The second definition, confidence, self-respect, and solidarity as expressed by gay people, is the one me and many others think of when we hear the word pride. Unfortunately, it has also been deemed as a sin. The youth of this city have been lucky to be able to participate in Pride because without it, we wouldn't be able to experience the love and acceptance it provides. Pride shows us love and acceptance by letting us see that there are people who are just like us. When I'm at school, other students judge me for dressing and acting differently. When I'm at Pride, however, I get to see people that are just like me, people who dress the same and like the same things. I don't get shown that same kindness at school. But when I see those who are from every background, gender identity, and sexuality, I get to fit in. Me and others like me get to feel seen. There are no boundaries of what's correct and what isn't. It is a judge-free zone that my generation would not get otherwise. Many people my age struggle to find a safe place to be themselves. Emphasis on safe. At school, me and many others are at risk of scrutiny from students and even teachers. Pride gives us a space to feel protected and like no one will hurt us. Even when the protesters came, I felt protected because I knew that those working there and the older generation of the LGBTQ+ community would do anything to keep us from harm. Younger kids going to Pride may be struggling with their identity, but being there gives them a way that they can ask questions and feel supported without the fear of being harmed. The youth needs Pride. We need to feel that connection with those around us. I and many others feel broken because of how we identify. It feels like we're crazy for just being who we are, and it would be harmful to my generation if Pride was taken away. Pride gives us confidence. It allows us to be somewhere and belong somewhere, even if we can't belong at school or at home. If protecting children is in any way important to you, Pride needs to stay, and it needs your full support. Thank you.
On the topic of the Pride event, did anybody else sign the book who has not spoken yet? Push the podium and give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Ellie Bryant.
Okay.
And I live at 132 Cole Drive in Fairfield. Do you mind saying that? Yes, my name is Ellie Bryant, and I live at 132 Cole Drive in Fairfield, but I have lived in Butler County and primarily in Hamilton for 5 decades. I know it's shocking, but let's talk about Pride. I was proud to be a Ross Ram. I was proud to go to Miami University and graduate from there with my degree. I was a proud parent at St. Anne's and Sacred Heart. I was proud to see my child graduate from Miami Regionals and take a job with the university. I am proud of all my former students as a former educator. I am proud to be from Hamilton. These types of pride have always been encouraged and accepted. Wearing your school colors, putting decals for your kids' teams on your car, wearing your sports jersey, supporting the Reds, the Bengals. My car has another sticker. It has a rainbow sticker. That type of pride isn't always encouraged or accepted. It represents my pride in being a member of the LGBTQIA+ community. In a small way, it makes others feel seen. That is what Hamilton Pride does in a big way. It embraces diversity and offers a safe place to celebrate all of the individuals in our community, our city, and our county. It's a day filled with bright colors, music, good food, and lots of new friends. It is an overwhelmingly positive day for Hamilton, with over 500 pieces of legislation targeting our community for what we are and who we love. A community-wide day to feel nothing but kindness and joy was amazing. I left my job at the beginning of this year. The first thing I did was, shortly after I left, I happened to be at the Fitton Center at a drag show, and I went up to Taylor Stone Welch afterward and said, I'd like to be of use within the Pride community. So I started to volunteer with Pride. We have one of the best Pride events in Southwest Ohio. It is family friendly, it is welcoming, and I think people are pleasantly surprised by both of those things when they come. It's not an in-your-face kind of a day. You can bring your grandma, your mom, your kids, your niece, your nephew, everyone's welcome. I love that people are surprised to see such a welcoming event in Hamilton. It makes them rethink Hamilton and see how far we've come and how much we are growing, not only in size and development, but in attitudes. It makes them want to return to our city. Let's keep Hamilton a safe and welcoming place. Let's keep growing our pride. Thank you.
Okay, we have another person who signed the book. Okay.
Lene Fabic, 502 Millville Avenue, 45013. So good evening. As I said, my name's Lene Fabic, and I am a member of the Hamilton, Ohio Pride Committee. I am the secretary on the board, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about how I came to be a part of this committee. I grew up moving in a military family, and traveling from community to community. And then as I became an adult, my job also allowed me to move and travel from city to city as well. In 2001, I settled in Columbus, Ohio, and then in Westchester in 2006. In June of 2021, I volunteered to help with the first Pride event that took place here in Hamilton, and I had the privilege of helping in various different activities and events at that time. And this was a place where I felt very welcomed and very accepted. It was a part of what I was looking for and what I needed in my life at that time. I felt the welcoming acceptance of being a part of this community. And then after moving to Hamilton in September of 2021, I began attending the Hamilton, Ohio Pride Committee meetings, where I was received openly and sincerely. I continued to volunteer for the Pride events that took place in June of 2022, and then again this June in 2023. What I've seen through my involvement with this committee and the people in this community is the availability of an environment that celebrates diversity and supports the LGBTQIA+ community. Living in a community that embraces equality and the rights of all individuals is admirable and reflects the values of a progressive and inclusive city. By actively promoting Pride initiatives, the City of Hamilton can show its stand for acceptance and understanding. With support for the Pride events, we can raise awareness and advocate for queer community rights, having a profound impact on the lives of numerous individuals who identify as queer. These actions will help to foster an environment where everyone feels welcome, respected, and valued. The significance of supporting our community reaches beyond the celebration of Pride. It can send a powerful message that our city values diversity, promotes equality, and recognizes the contributions of every individual, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. This message of acceptance can go throughout the community, inspiring others to embrace tolerance and respect for all. Having support during Pride Month is fabulous, and we look forward to continuing our efforts to create a more inclusive and accepting community throughout the year. We are dedicated to fostering a safe and welcoming environment that benefits not only the LGBTQIA+ community, but also contributes to the overall well-being and harmony of our city of Hamilton. I'd like to extend a special thank you to our City Council for their support, and especially recognizing the council members who supported us with their assistance. Carla came and she helped with actually setting up the Pride event. Susan, who actually spoke at our march, opening the event on that Saturday the 3rd, and Joel, who actually came to our event also and made it a point to go around and say hi to many of the different community members that were there that day. So we are grateful for the values of acceptance, diversity, and appreciation within our community, and look to you, our leaders, for your commitment to making a significant difference in the lives of so many individuals by supporting and continuing to support the queer community. In closing, I'd like to express our anticipation as we look forward to not only the 2024 Pride event, but also the upcoming year, where we all have the opportunity of making invaluable contributions to our city, being a place where everyone can thrive and be their authentic selves. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think that's all who have checked the book for speaking on that topic. Okay, let's see what we have left. Will Turner, I believe you're next, sir. Name and your address, please.
William Turner, 152 Chestnut Street.
Good evening.
Well, a couple of y'all familiar with me, and situation down there is getting no better to me. It seemed like down there where I'm from, where dreams go to die, we have no hope. I don't feel it. It seems like criminals have more rights than we do down there. I raised 2 sons down there. Now, like a couple people I told, I think I did the right thing. None of them been in the Justice Center. I told them the streets are always going to be there. They don't go nowhere. Same people out there. They're gainfully employed, doing well. But I got to pay because some people don't want to go to work. My neighbors, some of them are on the 2nd and 3rd generation of owning houses down there. Homeless person just earlier when I talked to Joe, I was like, I got a new grill. I like to cook out. I like to be able to sit on my patio back there. But there's a old rundown house people like to cut through. Throw their garbage, loud talking, disrespectful. I don't want to have gatherings no more. Guy asked me for money. He asked me, stopped me while I was in my car. I said I didn't have no money. Next day, he asked me again. He said, yeah, I know you got some money. I get ready to throw some trash out. I see him coming out my neighbors, looking at my neighbors. I look on my camera to see if I got it so I could capture it. I see that he had jumped in my yard. No reason. We overlooked. Money is spent, lamps, garbage cans, sidewalks, trees. Then we get people that's not from our neighborhood who come down and they destroy it. They use the trees to start fires. In the garbage cans. Call the police. Loud noise, we know what usually loud noise is going to lead to. Oh, we'll send somebody. Oh, if no one don't mention a gun. You know, all the times the shootings was down there, no one actually said, you know what, I'm going to drive past and shoot. No, it happens. Even the last time we had something up there right before Juneteenth, the ceremony, that night, gunshots. Every year it seems to get worse. About 3 years ago, my son getting ready to go to work. He forgot something. He was doing insurance. Neighbor comes and said they shot up your car. If he didn't forget something. Next year, I worked hard. My kids are grown now. I got an older car that I like, a dream car for me, a 09 Lexus. They run forever. I had it for 2 months. A drunken couple comes around and shoves my car that I wanted into another car I just paid off 2 months before for my birthday present that I worked for. Over $25,000 in damages. I'm not in no system. Look me up. I might got a speeding ticket, parking ticket. I cannot enjoy myself. I can't rest I'm always on edge. Then the shooting, I could stone throw. 2 people were killed and a baby was grazed. But we hear, oh, let's go in this while it's hot. We got to keep this momentum coming. But every time I talk to someone, oh, this person homeless can't do nothing. So the homeless got more rights than me and my family. This guy has a mental issue. We can't do nothing with him. We can't lock him up. So we put him down where his family lives and let him run free and make fires. But then, like, no other way to look at it, I feel like I'm the kid in school being bullied. Just like anybody else here, I'm going to protect my kids and my family. Because no one else want to do it. But 9 times out of 10, I'll probably be the one locked up. No matter how much video or what I show you where I'm living. I don't even know what to do no more. I was told to come here.
Well, Will, you do go to the community meetings. I mean, we see you there. We do need some more community success. There's no doubt about that. You do speak to the council members. You keep us updated about what's going on. Just let us continue working, but we need you to continue telling us what's going on, because you just tell us as it is. And thanks for coming to the council meeting, but now there's work to be done in the community. There is, and you're part of it. We all want to make sure that the Second Ward and surrounding neighborhoods have positives going on, safe communities. So, and I know Councilmember Lauer's been working pretty hard on some things. So let us keep working together, working in the right direction. And you.
It's been almost a year since I've been working with you.
You've been at meetings for the last few years. I know that.
Yes.
And you continue to stay, and you continue to lead. We just need to get some successes. That's what we need. And I believe you'll work with us, and we'll get some things done. I'm telling you. Thank you, Mr. Turner. Carol Combs.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I just wanted to take a moment to extend some invitations. A lot of the neighborhoods have some really good things going on. Carol Combs, 364 Cleveland Avenue. And so we're just trying to get information out to residents. So for those not connected, 17 Strong Hamilton Facebook page has a lot of good information. But I'm representing Prospect Hill tonight just to share about a day that's coming up, July 8th. We have our Won't You Be My Neighbor Prospect Hill block party. It's going to be held at Jim Grimm Park from 2 to 4. That day we have tie-dye shirts going on. So we have the We Is Greater Than Me tie-dyeing going on, rock painting, snacks, a visit from the Flubs truck. And then we just have a really good amount of energy going on in Prospect Hill with residents wanting to engage. So there's a group of us just trying to activate and mobilize residents to do some cool things. So also that day, we're just going to be having good conversation about fall and winter events and ways that the neighborhood can connect. Also, just for Art in the Park, we have Art in the Park July 8th and July 22nd, a few days in August. But I just wanted to share that happens at 5 different parks: Moser Park, Markham Park, Milliken Woods Park, Benny Hoffman Park, and Virginia Park. So that's 10 to noon, and so I just wanted to put that on everyone's radar too. Great ways to connect, ways for us to explore how to create safer, cleaner, more engaged neighborhoods. So that is my invitation for everyone. That's it. Thank you.
Don't leave yet. I just want to say thank you, because you were an all-star presenter at the Neighborhood Summit that just was, last Saturday. And you are an energizer. You bring leadership and comments out of people who may not comment and lead. So your presentations were great. Obviously, you inspire people by the way you speak and what you say. So Carol, thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Pullman.
I want to say thank you too for, starting the group up here. Vice Mayor Ryan and myself attended. I know it starts off small, you all worried about that, but that's how you have to start, as we told you before, and to get the word out. I just appreciate you starting this group. Don't worry about it being small first. You can grow just like some of the other groups. So be confident, keep doing what you're doing, get the neighbors together. You guys are out there hustling. I know, going out passing out flyers and stuff. I think you're going to have some good events here. So
don't give up, okay?
Well, thank you for the invitation to be a part of tonight and just engaging with us. What was that, last week? Ooh,
No problem.
we've been busy.
I'll wait the next meeting.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Carol.
She will never give up.
No, she's not. That's how it starts. You start off small, and they'll do it. I guarantee you they will.
Okay. That takes care of our audience of citizens. We now go to the consent agenda, and that includes all staff reports, caucus reports, meeting minutes, and had included within it the informational reports from the Hamilton Pride Committee letters. So, before we do that, we're going to go to the Committee of the Whole. And that gives council an opportunity to listen to some presenters from the city, allow council to ask questions, provide direction, and comment on some of the caucus agenda items. Is there a motion that the regular meeting be recessed and the Committee of the Whole take place?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 7:24. Okay, Mr. City Clerk, kind of tell us who's leading in each one of these particular caucus agenda items.
Absolutely. So for our first and fifth item on the caucus agenda, we'll be having a presentation by our Finance Director, Mr. Dave Jones.
Good evening, members of council, city citizens.
I'm finding it, Dave. Hang on.
So the first item is going to be the forced supplemental, as Daniel is searching for it.
Sorry.
All right.
One moment. There we go.
So this is our forced supplemental appropriation of 2023. We have 5 significant items on there, and then you can all see them, but we have the $850,000 to develop the public parking lot. That's at the current Martial Arts Studio on Main Street across from the Rossville Flats. We have the $250,000 grant to the CIC. That's infrastructure improvements at the Third Eye Brewing site. We have bike path maintenance going on. I think it's currently going, actually. That is $150,000. And we are going to wrap up phase 2 of the Safe Routes to School, $77,000. The $77,000 has a $40,000 contingency in there, may not be used. Then Crawford Hoying, you know, we've heard so much about that. That's actually going to be out of the Economic Development Budget Stabilization Fund. Any questions on that?
Any questions from Mr. Jones?
Can I just ask Edwin to give maybe some context? Let me just start at the top. So the $850,000, Edwin, the parking lot that's going to be installed in that mid block, so in between D and E on Main Street. Do you recall how many parking spaces that will include?
I don't. I apologize.
From memory, I want to say it's around 70 off-street parking spaces, plus or minus maybe 5 or so. When you think about the development along Main Street, one of the common complaints that we are getting is, especially as new restaurants have opened in B and in the blocks in B, C, and D, and as we move even past F Street with the hub and other things that are bringing in a lot of parking, with the Rossville Flats under construction, with the Gave and Rye starting construction probably in the next 60 days, all that's going to just create more of a parking demand. So this will fill in that. Even with this addition to this off-street parking, I think we're still going to have to evaluate other off-street parking options just to make sure that the small businesses that are opening on Main Street can actually thrive on Main Street and we can get enough people to park. I know early on, one of the things we heard quite a bit, at least I heard early on, was, this is when I say early on, I'd say about 10 years ago, it was easier to go to Bridgewater Falls because you could find easy parking to go to a restaurant versus call it High Street in Hamilton. I think that we've been pretty creative with some of the off-street parking offerings that we've done in the past 5 to 6 years, but this will be a pretty significant parking area for us. The $250,000 grant to the CIC, typically this is money that would come from utilities. This is not specific to Third Eye Brewing. This is actually public improvements that are necessary And Edwin, if you can speak to the underground infrastructure, maybe some of the street improvements, and maybe to the age of what's existing in that area now, why this is important.
Yeah, so the current street in that area, it's very flat, and when it rains, water ponds in that area, so there's no storm infrastructure in there right now. And the street's antiquated and dilapidated, so it needs to be rebuilt and restructured. So this will go towards those types of improvements.
And the water main that's in that area, do you recall the age of that?
So the water main's been rerouted to the south side of the building, but I can't. Alan, do you remember? Was that the?
There's no water main on that street.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, some of the underground infrastructure in and around that area, I think, is, if I recall correctly, is like about 100+ years old. So a lot of, I'm sorry, on Edison. But so we are trying to make improvements to the east side that have really not seen some of these improvements in a while. And this project in particular, we are hoping will be a catalyst. I know there's a lot of conversation about High Street, Main Street seem to get a lot of attention. Well, the attention is going there only because that's where investors have looked to invest. So by encouraging investors to go into East Hamilton and other areas, we're hoping that that will be catalytic in bringing other investment in. But I just wanted to make sure that was, I mean, this is not a direct grant or anything to Third Eye Brewing. This is actually for public infrastructure that's, in this case, just incredibly old and need to replace regardless.
So general fund expenditures, they're helping repair an older infrastructure, but also as this city grows and there's demands, so this money's also going towards to meeting those demands.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So next we have the annual tax budget. We're required to do this every year. It's a resolution. The council adopts an annual tax budget, and then we submit that to the County Budget Commission. I've listed the 3 office holders of the County Budget Commission. It's the county auditor, the treasurer, and the county prosecutor. So the responsibility of the Budget Commission, they look at our tax levies for all the tax districts of Butler County, and they determine that the tax levies are properly authorized and allocated. And they look at the ending fund balance, or the estimated ending fund balance, and our estimated resources, and they certify that to us by September 1st of 2023. You guys being city council can appropriate. You pass an appropriations ordinance, you can appropriate that amount with the 2024 appropriations ordinance. So if you think of it, it's kind of a checks and balance. You have the Budget Commission on the revenue side with the fund balance and the resources, and then you guys with the appropriations, which are the expenses. You know, we can't over appropriate money, so obviously you can't exceed the fund balance and the resources. Again, it is a resolution. We will have a public hearing on the July 12th meeting. The tax budget will be available by July 1st to the public. It'll be on the website. You can email me at the address on the screen. If you'd like a paper copy or just to view it, you can call the phone number on the screen, which is 513-785-7170. Any questions on that?
Any questions? Thank you, Dave, for good explanations.
Okay. Next up, for agenda item number 2, we'll have a presentation by our acting health commissioner, Ms. Cindy Hogg.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and citizens of Hamilton. I'm here tonight to ask for your acceptance of the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant. This grant is in the amount of $31,857.51 and is for the time period of July 1st of 2023 to June 30th of 2024. This grant will be used to support salaries and supplies needed in a public health emergency situation. This grant previously supported our COVID-19 vaccination efforts and could be used to support efforts in emergency situations such as a train derailment. This grant money is allocated to our health department through an agreement with the Butler County Health Department, who receives their allocation from the Ohio Department of Health Bureau of Preparedness. There are 19 deliverables associated with this grant. Deliverables include developments of emergency response plans, staff training, testing of communication systems, and updating our current plans. Please consider the acceptance of this grant, as it is a great benefit to our health department preparedness efforts, and it will help keep our citizens, the city of Hamilton, safe. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you.
Next up for agenda item number 3 and number 6, we'll have our Director of Engineering, Mr. Rich Engel.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens of Hamilton. Before I begin, I would like to thank Mr. Jim Loneman. He took the time today. He observed one of our staff members driving a truck, waved him over and told him they had a brake light out. So he took the time to let us know that we had an issue with one of our vehicles, and we appreciate that, Jim. Thank you. All right, the first item is the State Route 128 resurfacing project. You may recall that I was here last fall asking you for a agreement with ODOT for them to pave portions of the city street, Pyramid Hill Boulevard, which is State Route 128. They were paving it from Hamilton County into Butler County, and they were asking permission to pave the portion where the center line of the street is in, or the corporation line is in the center line of the street. Well, now, we've talked to them since then, and they're willing to include the city's portion of State Route 128 as well at a cost that the city would participate in. So now that we're participating in the project, we have to do a different agreement with them because we're now going to be an LPA, local public agency, working with ODOT. Our city share will be approximately $100,000 for this project. So with that, these are the portions that will be paved by ODOT. The corporation line's in the center of the street. And then these are the portions that will be city responsibility. And we're already out there working with a contractor, taking care of the concrete work and making sure we have the appropriate ADA compliant handicap ramps. And we're also working on New London Road with the same contractor as well, removing that grassy median and restoring it with a hardscape median and extending the turn lane. So we'll have to do a different agreement with ODOT, and this is the legislation that they require us to pass in order to participate with the project. Are there any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Rich, can you tell us how many lane miles that the combination of everything that we saw, I'll call it in gold or orange. Can you tell us?
I cannot. It's probably between 1 and 2 miles.
Yeah, yeah. And for $100,000.
Yeah, and it just makes sense that we didn't want a patchwork of asphalt along that major boulevard in our city. So we took the opportunity to negotiate that with ODOT, and they were very willing to work with us on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Rich.
So the next one is an interesting situation we discovered in one of our Fairway Hills subdivision water main project. There is an existing water main constructed in 1997 that crossed private property, and at that time there was no easement obtained by the city to do so. So we're asking for permission to spend $10,000 to purchase the easement that's needed on the water main for any future maintenance and even possible future replacement of it. And this is the location of it between Thoreau Drive and New London Road. It's probably more expensive than we need to spend, but it's also reimbursement for use of that land for the number of years since 1997. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
So, Rich, does that make it undevelopable? Is that a word? Undevelopable? Like, can they build on it, the people who own it, if they needed to?
There's already an owner on that parcel. It's a large parcel.
Okay, so it's not something that could be future development, or it would preclude
I
that?
don't believe so, no.
Okay, okay. I just couldn't tell by looking at the picture, so thanks.
Thank you.
Last on the caucus agenda for agenda item number 4 will be a presentation by our Chief of Staff, Mr. Aaron Hufford.
Good evening, Mayor Moeller, members of council. I'm excited to bring another great development agreement to you tonight. This one in regards to the former City Hall building at 20 High Street. The city's been working with a development team comprised of 2 development entities, Acumen Development and Spectrum Investment Group. These 2 groups have done 126 hotel projects, which equals 1.5 million square feet and over 27,000 hotel rooms. And that's exactly what they're looking at with the 20 High Street building, is an upscale hotel. This is the latest rendering that they've provided to us. They love the site. They love Hamilton and all the things we have going on, and they want to see this historic building restored. They want to preserve all of the historic architecture and the sandstone, so it's very exciting to talk to them about that process. Here's a more detailed shot that shows their current thinking with the building. So they have a 4-story new addition off of the end closer to the Butler County Admin Building, which would house most of the rooms. It's about 116 rooms currently. And then corporate style suites and some rooftop event space. The existing building would house 43 rooms, and they would add a covered valet to the riverfront entrance. Just some more details on the project. Currently, they are looking at 159 rooms total, 6,000 square feet of food and beverage. They have room in their plans for Municipal Brewworks to expand, double in size approximately, and they're looking at $48 million in total project cost. They have not selected a flag yet, but they're looking at an upscale brand between Marriott, Hyatt, and Hilton. This is a sample project timeline that they're targeting. So they are planning to work through the design and permitting section next year in 2024. And start construction mid-2025 and plan to open at the very end of 2026. And just some highlights from the development agreement. The developers are asking for the sale of the building for $1. They are also asking for a city grant of $2 million and a 15-year full property tax abatement. They've also asked us for utility upsizing contribution of up to $250,000. And that would just be for electric, water capacity that would serve the building. They plan to far exceed their development obligations, but in the agreement, they're obligated to provide a minimum $30 million investment with 100 hotel rooms and negotiate an agreeable lease with Municipal Brewworks. And that's just a very high level of what's in your packet tonight. There's a lot of detail in there, but I'd be happy to take any questions. Additionally, the development team will be here in person at the next meeting. And they'll have a short presentation for you at that time also.
Any questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Aaron.
Mr. Mayor, if I just a few comments, no questions, but first I just want to say thank you to Aaron Hufford, who has worked on this project for at least the last 18 months. Obviously, it's a very difficult project. The building was built in the 1930s. Being an older building, for those that have been in it, they understand this. It's the way it's laid out. It's very difficult to turn a lot of that open space into usable space, which is what necessitates the east side addition of 4 stories that Aaron alluded to that would add approximately 120 hotel rooms. So the supermajority of the hotel rooms would be in the new construction area, but they think that the real appeal to the building is the original part of that building. Another thank you, and you heard Crawford Hoying say this also, Tom Vanderhorst. I mean, if you look at common thread through all our development, Tom really is the one that really reads through all the development agreement language with a fine-tooth comb, works with the county auditor and valuations, works with Andy Brossard, who's here tonight on the finance side. But without Aaron and Tom's time investment in this, I don't think we'd be seeing this project. Something that I think the public may find of interest, Aaron talked about selling the building for $1 and providing a $2 million incentive. The building being almost 100 years old and with very few tenants, Municipal Brew Works being the primary tenant in that building, it costs the city probably on average about $200,000 a year just to not improve the building, but just to maintain the building. So the evaluation that went into getting the incentive, the cost of doing a project like this is just very high. When you look at, call it 150 hotel rooms at almost a $50 million investment, I mean, it really doesn't pencil out. You can build a brand new 120 room hotel in a greenfield for $10 to $15 million. So to have someone come in, take an old building, which will relieve the citizens of having to put about $200,000 to $250,000 every year into that project, it also takes something that's been activated, frankly, because of Municipal Brew Works, which is an incredibly awesome tenant to have there. But to put rooms around that, not only does this allow Municipal Brew Works to grow, the development team has worked closely with the ownership of Municipal Brew Works to give them additional space. So during the winter months, it's more accessible to their patrons, but it also takes a building that's highly visible and really not the greatest condition. And it will take a total rehab of that building, including the electric, the interior plumbing. You know, the city's put a lot of money into the roof in the last decade, but it still needs additional work. And the sandstone exterior, for those of you that have been watching it maybe over the years, has actually, in some places, has fallen. So long story short, it is going to take some money from the city on the front end, but the return on that investment, to me, is repaid within the first 10 years just by virtue of us not having to put money into that facility. But really, it gets repaid exponentially by taking an anchor building in our downtown and really putting it back into a tremendous use. So thank you to Aaron, thank you to Tom specifically for all their hard work that's gone into this. And I don't think anyone thought a few years ago that a premium brand hotel would be looking at that building as a location. So actually with a Hilton going in right across the street.
Mr. Mayor.
Member Lauer.
With the potential of this building coming in, and I'd like to thank you guys for all your efforts and hard work. I'd like to thank all those who are considering coming to our town, as well as those who are coming to our town. I would have thought, I was hoping for a little bit more excitement when we announced when we had Crawford Hoying here today, and the announcement of this. I was, these are home runs for us, and I think we're all excited about this, but I'm very excited about what's coming, and the team that has done all the work on this, man, you guys have done a great job. So appreciate it.
I want to thank the city manager because he had the idea to make Caucus Agenda more informational for the public who's watching on TV and who's here, because we've got a chance on council to see how great of a city team. But now, because of TV Hamilton, our citizens, they can see our city professionals come to the podium and explain these projects. And I think we're just showing off what a great city team that we have. So thank you for the idea, Joshua, to have these more informative caucus agendas and the committee of the whole. So, any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
please.
I share quarterly at least. This was the promise we made 12 years ago, that downtown Hamilton would be an exciting destination place. We heard the folks from Crawford Hoying that said, we want to be here. I use the word dream because we dreamt when Champion went away, Smart Paper went away, and we invested in that site to be able to have a destination place that Sam Byler said, I can replicate what I've done and make it bigger and better than what I've accomplished in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All of the other investments, Main Street, Route 4, when we talked about Third Eye, all of the people that are coming to downtown, and there's more to come, it's just an exciting time. And again, the compliment to our city manager and his team of professionals. that work 24/7 for our city, for the betterment of our citizens, the betterment for our residents here today, residents of tomorrow, the businesses that are here, that have been here and established themselves. When the folks from Hamilton Castro were here and talked about their expansion 6 months ago and what we've done there, and just the belief in our city, what all of you here are experiencing in the belief in our city. Young people, people my age and people in between that are watching the growth. It's on purpose. It's not happening. It's the secret sauce, and other municipalities are coming to Joshua and his team and saying, what can we do in our city to make our city be a Hamilton, Ohio? So when we were looking and searching 12 years ago, 10 years ago, for people to come and turn lights on in Hamilton, and Sarah Vallandigham said, I want to invest in what was a Hungry Bunny across the street and on the corner. The people that invested in Mercantile Lofts, people invested in the Robinson Twin building, the Art Space building, the former Alder Bierman building, Rotary Park, all of those things that we kind of take for granted today were on purpose and by design. So I'm very, very proud to be part of the promised growth that we had, promised growth that we're seeing today, and the promised growth of these businesses that are going to open up in 2025 and 2026. And we're not done yet. So please understand, and this is for a TV viewing audience and all the people that are listening and streaming and things like that, know that Hamilton is on the map today because of all of the things that we promised 10, 12 years ago that are coming to fruition today, and that the growth is still there. Joshua presents us with opportunities every day. And he said, should I email this to you? Should I text it to you? Yes, please. Present us with opportunities. So again, to the team here, the 600 and plus people that work for our city, thank you for the jobs you're doing. Thank you for making Hamilton an inviting place.
Thank you, Councilmember Knapp. Anyone else on council? Okay, great. I'll set the motion. The committee of the whole be closed.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have one more presentation. It's for agenda item number 18. I figured since this bypassed the caucus agenda, maybe we could talk about this grant application if that's okay.
Sure.
So we'll have our Assistant Director of Engineering, Mr. Alan Messer.
Good evening. So a lot of you remember we established a Safe Streets for All committee earlier this year. The intent of that committee was to identify some projects for this program, which is a new federal program that was established last year. And then we were going to pursue funding for whichever we identified as the highest priority of that list. In the meantime, USDOT changed the makeup of that program and moved what was a September deadline to a July deadline for the grant application. And with that change, it opened up some new opportunities to us. So just real briefly, you have the intent of the program, which are a lot of things you hear a lot about: speed management, pedestrian safety, separated bike lanes, and safety enhancements. And so what I'm asking for today is to pursue a grant. The amount would be for $400,000, a $500,000 project. The city would match 100 of the $400,000 that we would receive. And this would be to complete that Safe Streets for All plan, which was intended to be an update of our active transportation plan, make it compliant so we'd be eligible for this funding. Along with that, we're now able to do what they call a demonstration grant or a demonstration project. And in this case, it would be improvements on Knightsbridge from Neyland to University Boulevard. It would be a separated bike lane, a road diet. If you remember what we did a few years back on University Boulevard, we took what was 4 lanes, took it down to 3. There was some apprehension when we did that. Hey, you're losing a lane, we're losing capacity. In fact, it's worked very well. Anecdotally, we've heard good things about less speeding there, and the capacity still exists. We did something similar on Eaton Avenue, there across from Flubs. And so this would be the same thing. We'd be taking one of the 4 lanes on Knightsbridge and making it into a separated bike lane. We'd have dividers, similar to what you see in the High Main Bridge, to establish that. It would be a 2-way bike lane, as opposed to on University where we have a bike lane that's immediately adjacent to the travel lane on each side. So it offers more protection. As part of it, we'll evaluate how that goes. We'll take speed study before and after and be able to demonstrate, if it really is helping with speeds and with bicycle usage. This project itself was on the active transportation plan. Liz isn't up here, but her and Rob Weil were looking through that list of projects on the active transportation plan for one that would be a good fit for this program. They both came to the same conclusion. We vetted it a little further. It's bullet point number 3 there, as far as the intent of the project, is a really important one because it will connect the neighborhood better to the river. Right now, we talked earlier about the river being underutilized. This will be a good opportunity to get people over to the river. So target user on this separated bike lane is not necessarily the person that's zipping through at 30 miles an hour, but kids and family members that could then get over to the existing. There's actually, I don't know how many people are aware, there's steps down to the river on the other side of Neyland from Knightsbridge, and we would improve those crossings at Neyland and at Front Street along Knightsbridge to make it easier to get there. Go to the next slide. So this is the area. You can see the 4 lanes, and this is a good picture image in the bottom right of what that separation might look like. That's very similar. I think that's actually a 1-way road that we're looking at, but it would be 2 lanes with a center turn lane. Are there any questions on this?
Questions or comments? Thank you and the entire team for securing these grants.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else for the caucus agenda or presentation, Mr. City Clerk?
No, sir.
Then I'll accept the motion to committee of the whole be closed.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 7:56. I'll accept the motion to regular meeting be reconvened.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
That's also at 7:56. I'll accept the motion at this time regarding the reports.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that with the exception of the items so noted, council received the reports of the consent agenda and concur to the recommendations.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. And we now reach the public hearing segment of the agenda, and I'll accept the motion that the regular meeting be recessed and the following public hearings take place.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. At 7:57, we now go to first public hearing, Mr. City Clerk.
A public hearing regarding approving the preliminary plat approval to allow a multifamily development at 116 Timber Hill Drive located within RPD Residential Plan Development Zoning District. J. Chris Miller, applicant, Hickory Ridge Enterprises, owner.
Anyone in the audience wish to be heard at this public hearing involving the development of 116 Timber Hill Drive? Anyone in the audience wish to be heard at this public hearing involving the development at 116 Timber Hill Drive? Anyone on council wish to be heard to make a motion at this time?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the public hearing be closed.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Lauer. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried to close the public hearing at 7:58. Next public hearing, please.
A public hearing regarding approving the preliminary and final development plan for 2251 Northwest Washington for the development of two commercial multi-tenant retail buildings on property zone BPD Business Plan Development MNR Investments LLC applicant.
Anyone in the audience wish to be heard at this public hearing? I believe Mark Kaler wants to be heard. Take a, another gentleman also asks to be heard as well, so we'll go start with Mark Kaler.
Okay, I'll try to be brief here, which won't be too hard because apparently none of the Patels are at this evening's meeting.
They're here.
Huh?
I don't believe they're here.
No, they're not. What I was asking them for before we finalize that, if they could make some changes and what they want to do. Maybe council can also answer part of this, I don't know.
This is a public hearing, so let's hear what
Okay,
you gotta say.
They proposed building a fence basically right on the property line between our homes and their property. Was wondering if they could move that fence in 10 to 15 feet into their property, move it north. That way, our backyards are very short. We don't look like we've got the Great Wall of China as we look out our window. Okay. And when they do put up the fence, to only put the fence up as they build their buildings. Okay, we don't need them to put 100 feet of fence down when they've only got 20 foot of building up. And could they also possibly help with planting? Their plans for planting on their property are tremendous. They're putting down hundreds of plants. Maybe a few of them could go on our side of the fence. Okay. I also don't know that they have reached an agreement with the city yet on the sale of the last third of their property. And they are putting in a retention pond. And this retention pond will be to the west of their building. If they could move it to the east of the building and then move the building that way. This would give a few of the people a little longer time than having a fence put in their backyard. Our backyards are only about 10 feet deep. Okay, and we all knew that when we bought the property. And of course, we just hoped that nobody would build on it, but we knew it wasn't. We knew it was coming. So I just didn't know if, like I said, if we could get some agreements with them.
Well, this is a public hearing, I believe. We just have a first reading tonight on this. So the second reading would be the first meeting in July. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. So I imagine some word will get back to MNR Investments about your comments. I know we had a public hearing to Planning Commission, I believe, as well.
Yes.
But okay, well, your comments, I'm sure, will get back to them through somebody.
I was taking notes as you were speaking. I'm not. Have you provided these same comments to our Director of Planning, Liz Hayden, by chance?
No, I haven't.
If you could, if you'd be so kind to maybe send it, I just want to make sure I capture everything accurately. Could you send an email to Daniel, myself, Liz, whoever, just with what the requests were, so we could take those back to the development team, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Steve. Okay. For some reason I could never read your last name the right way, so. Gagel. Just come to the podium, give us your name and your address, please.
Hello, I'm Steve Gagel, 2252 Mossy Grove, and live in Washington Estates 2 HOA. I'm going to make a few comments there. Mr. Mayor, you talked about Marv Sizemore. I knew Marv. I think it's the same Marv. He was a retired Oxford police officer.
Correct, same gentleman.
And also he was a POW in World War II. So Marv did a good thing. The other thing, the old city building. I've been there many times at the city utilities and the police department there. And yeah, that's everything that everybody said about the city building is correct, the old city building. Okay, at this time, I want to thank all City of Hamilton leaders and employees present for their service and time to the citizens of Hamilton. I come this evening to voice my concerns on traffic concerns in this area of Northwest Washington Boulevard, which is mall or strip mall or whatever it's going to be coming in. And I'm going to shorten this down real easy here because some of my questions have been already been answered. I feel there needs to be an improvement of the roadways in this area to accommodate these new businesses wanting to come to Hamilton. I feel road improvements need to be made before any new in and out businesses and traffic comes to this area of Northwest Washington Boulevard. This requires funding. We all need to have funding. I understand that. Also, there are also the lack of sidewalks in the area there too. I made a short list, well, I guess 13 numbers, of course, 13 of the things that are already in this area already here. And City View Heights subdivision is in St. Clair Township. That makes it tough for doing improvements in that area right there. The old City of Hamilton natural gas substations there too needs to be worked with. There are 2 schools, an elementary and a freshman, with auxiliary facilities on their grounds. A lot of cars come into those auxiliary facilities there. The new Westfield subdivision by Welch Property. The villas at Hampton West, also known as the Coswell Lane area. The Hampton West Estates subdivision by Marana Homes. The Ultra Fiber Hub building. Berkeley Square campus. A new addition to Berkeley Square campus. A church, Washington Estates 1, Washington Estates 2 estates, and 4 small businesses. I ask that road improvements become first in this area here. We don't need any more traffic there. There are issues there, and I will look into finding what those issues are, document those, and then we'll make those available to you. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gagel. Okay, anyone else in the audience wish to be heard at this public hearing involving the 2251 Northwest Washington Boulevard development? Anyone on council wish to be heard or wish to make a motion at this time?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the public hearing be closed.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Lauer. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried. That public hearing is closed at 8:06. I'll accept the motion that the regular meeting be reconvened.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Roll call vote on that motion to reconvene the regular meeting.
Pullman?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Nab?
Yes.
Lauer?
Yes.
Moeller?
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
Regular meeting is reconvened at 8:06. We now go to council actions pertaining to legislative items, and now accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Nab.
I move that a note be made upon the minutes that each member of council was furnished a printed copy of each item of legislation prior to its being considered at this meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Pullman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 8:07. We now go to pending legislation, agenda item number 9, second reading of an ordinance involving creating a new classification job.
An ordinance amending and supplementing Schedule A of the city's classification and compensation plan as set forth in emergency ordinance number EOR 2022-12-126, adopted December 14th, 2022, by creating the new classification of Public Utilities Control Engineer, second reading.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Any council comment or discussion on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Pullman?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Nab?
Yes.
Lauer?
Yes.
Moeller?
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 10, and all these are on the screens in here. Agenda item number 10, second reading of an ordinance involving the Main High Corridor Community Reinvestment Area.
An ordinance expanding, modifying, and restating the terms and tax exemptions of the Main High Corridor Community Reinvestment Area. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. Comments or questions about this one? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 11, second reading ordinance involving also the Hamilton City Community Reinvestment Area, another area.
An ordinance modifying and restating the terms of the Hamilton City Community Reinvestment Area and removing parcels from that area. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 6-0.
We now go to new legislation, agenda item number 12, first reading of emergency ordinance involving 555 North 3rd Street and 134 Hensel Place.
An emergency ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a development agreement related to certain real property located at 555 North 3rd Street and 134 Hensel Place, Hamilton, Ohio, 45011. Crawford Hoying Development Partners, LLC, developer, first reading.
For the record, council did receive the information report and emergency ordinance. Agenda item number 13, which is first reading of an ordinance involving the 2251 Northwest Washington Boulevard development.
An ordinance approving the preliminary and final development plan for 2251 Northwest Washington for the development of 2 commercial multi-tenant retail buildings on property zone BPD Business Plan Development, MNR Investments LLC, applicant, first reading.
Okay. Go to agenda item number 14, which is first reading of an ordinance involving.
Okay, sorry.
We're on 14, right?
Yep, that's correct.
14 involves quadricycles, I believe. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. I'll kind of read that into the record. This is just a
Please do, yeah.
issue with the presentation. An ordinance amending and supplementing Part 3 Traffic Code of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Hamilton, Ohio by adding Chapter 350 Commercial Quadricycles Pilot Program relative to authorizing and regulating commercial quadricycles in the City of Hamilton, Ohio. First reading.
Okay, thank you. Go to agenda item number 15, which is a resolution involving a side lot.
A resolution approving the conveyance of certain real property located within the City of Hamilton, Ohio's urban renewal area and to an adjoining property owner as a side lot, 279 Walnut Street.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Nab.
I move that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Pullman. Discussion on this one? Roll call vote, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
To agenda item number 16, which is also another resolution about our side lot program.
A resolution approving the conveyance of certain real property acquired through the land bank to an adjoining property owner as a side lot, 1138 Schuler Avenue, 287 Walnut Street.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second. Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Comments, questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
We go to agenda item number 17, which is a resolution involving the 116 Timber Hill Drive development.
A resolution approving the preliminary plat approval to allow a multifamily development on 1116 Timber Hill Drive located within RPD Residential Plan Development Zoning District. J. Chris Miller, applicant, Hickory Ridge Enterprises owner.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pullman.
make a motion that the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. Discussion? None. Roll call, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
Go to agenda item number 18, which is a resolution about that Safe Streets for All program we heard about earlier.
A resolution authorizing, directing, and supporting the filing of a grant application to the Safe Streets for All SS4A program to develop the SS4A plan and to convert Knightsbridge Drive from Neelan Boulevard to University Boulevard from a 4-lane section to a 3-lane section with a center 2-way left and buffered bike lane.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, seconded by Vice Mayor Ryan. Comments on this one? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 6-0.
You. Audience of the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one quick comment. Thinking about Crawford Hoying being here tonight, the announcement at 20 High Street, but my brain keeps going back to Mr. Turner from 152 Chestnut and what he said to us tonight. And I think the reason why we do the things we do is that, you know, we build a community and we hope that the community, the entire community keeps improving. And to hear the angst in his voice and about his situation, you know, I know that block of Chestnut well. It's on the southeast corner of Bailey Square, and I feel bad because I was taking notes as he was talking, and I was trying to come up with something to say to make him feel better, and I had literally nothing that I could come up with. And I just wanted the council to know that I did take a lot of notes. I will be reaching out to him tomorrow. I'm going to try to visit him down at his residence. But I mean, the reason why in my mind that we try to improve Hamilton is for individuals that come and they want that improvement. And frankly, he deserves that improvement. It's just got to figure out a way to do it. So thank you.
Thank you for addressing that. Audience of council.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Lauer.
Adam Helms has asked me to put out, there's a new type of group at River's Edge coming that we haven't had before. It is the Harlem Gospel Travelers with Buffalo Nichols. I guess they're pretty famous. They're coming to town tomorrow night, and he asked me to address that. Joshua, I'm going to go on Mr. Turner as well. I'm glad to see Linda Spurrier here, who is another teacher at Hamilton, who was a, are you still with Hamilton City Schools, or you have retired? Retired. She has retired. And then Miss Gill was here, and Raja Sundram. We've all been touched by many of the kids in the area where Mr. Turner is from. I want to discuss Mr. Turner a little further. Mr. Turner has become one of our more active citizens in that neighborhood. He has stood up, spoken out, and is trying to improve his neighborhood. I appreciate the fact that you addressed some of the issues. Many of these issues have had personal effects on ourselves, but there has been some things done by our city team that often go unrecognized. However, we have many things to continue to work on. When I stepped into this position on city council, this was one of the areas that I absolutely wanted to address. I am willing to do whatever you have in mind to work with you to make some things happen. We must continue to work on this, but I do appreciate the efforts that have been completed by our police and fire teams as well as our city teams. However, we have much work to do in those areas so that we can continue the improvements across Hamilton. My belief is that in order for us to grow as a community, we must hit these areas and help them to improve. We have many active citizens that have possibly grown silent over the years, but I am glad to see Mr. Turner and Mr. Harris, who are always working towards improving their neighborhood.
Anyone else on council? I'm also confident we're going to turn talk into some successes in that area.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
I just wanted to congratulate the Department of Neighborhoods and 17 Strong for what a success with the Neighborhood Summit on Saturday. it exceeded all expectations. Over 250 residents were there. I see many of our speakers out here. People walked away excited. We had discussed, do we have a box lunch? Because people will be tired at the end of this. People wouldn't leave. In the end, the networking was unbelievable. So thank you to all of council who were there. Thanks to everyone else in the city who worked on it. It was amazing. Get your tickets early when we do it again, because it's worth being there, and that's where change starts.
July 4th committee has a big day planned for Tuesday, July 4th. Parade starts at 10 o'clock. At about 11:45, there'll be a music program. That's when we're going to give out the parade awards. And there's a show at River's Edge that night. And of course, fireworks in Hamilton. So, anyone else, please?
After the 4th of July meeting, this is a very large parade. It's back.
Yes, it is.
It's back. I think it's, Troy said it's over 5,000 feet long now. We have over almost 2,100 participants, 45 horses, and we have marching bands back. So, and I think they said by the time it hits the bridge, it'll still be back toward the starting point. That's how long this parade is going to be. So this is going to be a nice event. I hope everybody can come out. I went around today hanging up a bunch of posters, and Troy made me do it. So, but he's, you know, they've got a lot of heart in this project, and we'll be there. So please, I hope everybody shows up. Yeah, Troy and Kathy Schwabel.
Councilmember Pullman's done some work, and Vice Mayor Ryan's going to be doing some work on the whole thing. It's about a mile-long parade, and I think we're at 92 units right now. And this could be the largest parade we've ever had, and it's already the largest parade in Butler County.
It's going to be nice.
Celebrate ice cream, apple pie, and baseball.
Right, I forgot that part, yes.
Yep.
2nd Street will be, they'll have vendors there all day till the fireworks too. So they'll have, that'll be all day, and the fireworks, of course, being shot off at Veterans Park. A couple things you forgot there.
Okay,
So
anything
enjoy
else?
the day.
Yeah, it'll be a great day.
It
Anything
will
else
be.
from council at all? Okay, so we're request to go into executive session, Mr. City Manager?
There is for 2 items. The first is to consider confidential information related to the marketing plans or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance. And the second is to consider the purchase of property for public purposes.
Regarding your first request, is there a motion that executive session is found to be necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds which will be made in connection with the economic development project?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Pullman, second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Roll call vote on that particular motion to go in executive session.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
For that particular reason, at 8:21, we passed a motion for that. Now, is there a motion that council go in executive session for the stated purposes, other ones, as well as this one that was given for?
So moved. Sorry.
You're fine. Councilmember Vaughn, first. Second. Second by Vice Mayor Ryan. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Pullman,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer,
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 6-0.
21. So go into executive session at 8:21. We'll come out of the meeting just to adjourn the regular meeting.